YOMI Hustle. If you're coming from my typical Roblox videos, this is the game I used to make a lot of videos on before I started all the Roblox stuff. Don't worry, Roblox isn't going anywhere, but I know a good amount of my subscribers do enjoy some YOMI Hustle, and I've kind of starved them of any of that content. But if you don't know what YOMI Hustle is, it's basically a fighting game, chess. And check out my catalog of hustle videos for more of an explanation. Luckily, in the meantime of my Roblox grind, lots of new updates and mods were made for my favorite part of the mod community, the JJK mod community. We have Sukuna reworks, Gojo moves, domain clashing, and entire new characters. So this video is going to be a classic mod review, covering the new moves and mods. Strap in, there's a lot of new banger content to cover. Let's start with the changes made to the two most popular JJK mods, Gojo and Sukuna. Sukuna got a spriting rework and some changes were made. The noises are finally changed. I love this mod for how cool the visuals were, but the default noises really just ruined it for me. People say that sound makes a game or a character good, and they are so right. These new noises make Sukuna so much better. Also, thank the gods. The developer finally made the fire arrow take long and not just be instant. It finally has a windup so it doesn't just obliterate you in like one frame. It was so overpowered that I had to uninstall Sukuna because playing against one was just unwinnable. And they also finally added a bunch of new moves. And they also added a new mechanic where you have to chant certain lines to cast certain moves, like World Slash and Domain Expansion. I feel like this really balances Sukuna and makes it feel like a whole brand new character, and I already love it 100 times more than the old Sukuna mod. I am happy to finally say that Sukuna is more balanced and more fun to play. Good work to the developers for finally doing this. Now for Gojo. Gojo got a couple new moves. There's a sort of counter move which has a pretty cool graphic visual. It's like a real cracked out eye glare, and the big move is being able to use hollow purple. This move has a really big windup and really big damage and is super visually pleasing. Also, there's an imaginary variant you can use while airborne, but it was a little difficult to get to pull off because the projectile is pretty small and the aim range where you can directionally input your attack is also really small. It took me a couple tries in single player to actually get it to happen. But this Gojo kit is basically complete and it's just too cool. It's near perfect. You have everything you'd want in a Gojo character. You have insanely cool martial arts with air variations and grounded variations. You also then have so many variations of red and blue. You can also do the honored one taunt, use infinity, use domain expansions, speed blitz your enemy. And by the way, the red and blue variations are like, there's like 10 different moves for each. Blue lets you like speed blitz and dash around and drag in your enemy close, and then red just lets you explode your enemy in like 15 different ways. This is amazing. I'm glazing again, but this is easily a near perfect 10 out of 10 mod. I literally can't think of anything else you would want to add to this character. I think my favorite bit is definitely the movement and the actual dedication to make so many different variations of red and blue. A lazy developer could have just added a single red move, but these guys have so many options for red and blue. No fight with Gojo is ever the same. Also, domain clashing actually exists. I tried to mess with it a bit in single player, but it wouldn't really work for a little bit until I discovered that you needed to win a couple rounds of rock, paper, scissors. And I say rock, paper, scissors because that's how domain clashing works in YOMI Hustle now. When two characters that can use domain expansion do expand those domains, they have to play rock, paper, scissors based on their moves. I think you have to win 4 rock, paper, scissors matches, and then you can actually win the domain clash. I think that's a really cool way of implementing it into a fighting game. Either way, having the complete Gojo and Sukuna mods is just awesome, and I still think they're making some extra overhauls to Sukuna, which is even more of a bonus. Let's get into the brand new characters now. We have Toge and Miwa to cover in this mod review. These are both relatively simple and nothing super complex like Gojo. Think of them similar to how Todo was on release, with a few moves but essentially encapsulating the character's abilities in a really simplistic manner. Toge does exactly what you'd think he would do. He can use curse speech and this inflicts damage on himself, but the moves are pretty strong. You can use just about every command he's used in Jujutsu Kaisen so far, from don't move to explode. It's pretty fun to use and cool to see how it's implemented, but there aren't a ton of melee options for him, since his primary form of attack is just to spam you with curse speech. I also like his hustle a lot because he kind of just does the little rock sign with his hands. If I had one suggestion, I think adding in the respective voice lines for the moves would make a huge difference. I mean, the core of the character is shouting your attacks at the other person, so when I used the move and there was no audible voice line, I was slightly disappointed. But again, I don't really know anything about mod development or how difficult or even possible that is, so I'm not going to be ungrateful and picky. He does say die when he uses that command, so I'm pretty happy about that. I would say this mod's pretty cool. It's a basic mod done right. You have the essential idea of the attacks being commands shouted at the enemy, good spriting, and good execution. I hope he gets more updates for melee moves, but overall, this is a pretty well made and solid mod. I think there were also some sneaks for him to get a black flash move as well, which he hasn't done in Jujutsu Kaisen, but I think it's sick that they're going to implement it anyways, because who cares, it's cool, it's black flash, every character deserves to have one. But speaking of basic mods, we have the final mod of the mod review, Miwa, the useless grade 3 sorcerer. No, seriously, I'm not even making fun of the mod, that's the title and how it's presented on the Steam Workshop page. Now, I want you to take a solid 2.4 seconds to think about Miwa's kit. What can she do? She can swing her sword around a bunch, which is unironically the best you can do for her. So while as simple as this mod is, it's quite literally perfectly made. Miwa has a range of melee attacks using her katana, and I think one move that uses the shadow style or whatever it's called, I honestly forgot. And she has some air variants and like 2 supers, but to be honest with you, you just can't do much else for Miwa. So while it's basic, it's what Miwa is. So in conclusion, it's actually a pretty good mod. But yeah, that's pretty much the status on the JJK mods in the YOMI Hustle space. It was nice to come back and to see what's up with some of my favorite mods in the modding community, and I also hear that there was actually a really cool Killer Queen mod that I might check out. Who knows? Anyways, that's it for this small mod review and YOMI Hustle catching up. If you enjoyed, make sure to like and subscribe. Thanks for watching. Peace.